Welcome back, Spartans. So Thursday has finally spoken about some of the issues that the game has been dealing with. This is mainly about like networking issues such as Desync, being shot around or shooting around corners. So let's get into it. I'm gonna only be focusing on the solution. I'll talk about the problem, the issue that they're kind of talking about first. So let's get into it. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment down below, and consider subbing to the channel. So let's get into it. First up, we have the issue. This being shot, shooting around corners. It seems to be an issue that gets the most vocal response, so let's explain what's happening. Fundamentally, it has to do with latency compensation. Latency compensation is how we handle the fact there is a delay between actions on the machine, actions on the server, and the results of those actions being communicated to other players. Ultimately, we need to ensure that all players are getting the best experience possible. To do this, the server has to mention the action on various machines that are all running at different latencies. It mentions the server as the arbiter of multiple different timelines, having to reconcile everything that happened in those timelines into something that makes sense. So, as outlined in this puzzle waypoint, the first step they're taking is increasing the priority of low pings on the server's matchmaking process. This step should help you match with local players and therefore have a better connection more often. As you get more of these, instances of playing on for the dancer will also decline. Separate from it, their services team has taken additional steps to help ensure you can have quality matches with players from your region. More often, we expect this to have a noticeable impact when matching players for other players in other populated regions around the world, including not limited to Australia and Asia. This update, which went live yesterday, has already shown promising results. Should take further advantage of this more changes. Please keep an eye out and let us know how your games start to feel. This morning's update should also prevent geo-filtering their online matches. Since this was impacting matches after we were put out together by a matchmaker, it was causing unstable connections in the player's lobby. So, if you want to learn more about this and why it's being prevented, please read this pulse waypoint. Next up, we have melee and shot registration. There is nothing more frustrating than when a melee shot/melee that appeared to land on the screen does not do damage, explained above. When someone shoots, a message is being sent to the server. The server attempts to get its view of the world into the same state that the shooter's world was in when the shot was fired. If there is discrepancy between these two views, then the shot may not land on its intended target. The question becomes, why would the server see the game in a different state to the client? There are three main causes. The first cause is rooted in the fact that the simulation needs to be deterministic. This means that when the client performs an action, the result of that action is the same when the server performs it. If the server does something different, the two machines will diverge. Sometimes non-determinism is unavoidable. Something that the client could not predict happens. E.g., a warhog hitting you, and the state of the world on the client's machine is now different to the server state. But in most circumstances, especially in arena environments, the client and the server should be deterministic, but we believe there are some bugs that we can address this. And here are what they're going to do. On our side, we have initial improvements that should be landing in a future update that should both improve determinism and bandwidth usage, and our test teams are constantly looking for scenarios where our determinism systems break. Player reports are very useful here to uncover bugs. I'd encourage you to report issues to the Halo support site when you find them with client-side clips. We can analyze these locally and hopefully track down what failed and cause the client server simulations to diverge. Your reports are incredibly helpful and help us track down edge cases in our systems. And I'd like to thank everybody who reports problems. I've also advised all PC players to set simulation quality to ultra on the settings. The setting drives a few of our game systems, but most importantly for this discussion, it controls the amount of time we give to our system that corrects determinism errors on the client. Setting this to ultra should result in better determinism between client and server. The CPU of course is also really low, so it should be manageable on most PCs. For post-human shooting, we have a work item on our backlog to look at shots post-death to better represent what players see on the screen. Keep an eye on the patch notes for when this lands. This is one of the top priority issues for my team because if you can trust shots melee win, your whole experience begins to suffer. We know we saw a few bugs here and there, actively working to make sure we fix them as much as we can. Next up, missing collision/melee phasing. The players report a case, especially in close melee, where they appear to phase through other players that player collision needs to be disabled. The first thing I would like to stress that player collision is enabled against enemies, not teammates. That's the big thing. That said, cases where you face your enemies are not intentional, let's explore what happened there. Due to the latency, movements that you make on your machine will take time to arrive on the server. Therefore, the state of the world movement applies will be different. On your machine where you wanted to go, there may have been clear, but by the time the server processes the move, there may be a player obstructing you. If we didn't do any compensation here, that would result in rubber banding, which near other players, as you were not able to proceed further on the server, but did on the client. In some shooters, this may be acceptable as close quarters combat may not be that frequent, but in Halo, the melee dance is an important part of our combat, so we have systems that attempt to deal with these edge cases by performing similar latency compensation to what happens. The melee launches is a challenging case, as you have two players moving towards locations that are actually where the player they are targeting was in the past. Imagine two players strafing in opposite directions to each other. In the images below, I'll link to a full article so you can see it for yourself. Imagine the purple player has been starting to strafe to the right, and the green player has been strafing to the left. Here is what they're doing to fix that. They are working on improvements to our player collision system, especially during melee. Given how important melee is to our combat dance, this is also a very high priority work item for my team. We will share more and patch notes to resolve issues. Next up, server/client decontrolization. The issue: players have found cases where you can permanently desync the client from the server. This thread on the Halo subreddit is a good example of these cases. Usually the moment they detect a desync, no matter how small, the client should begin correcting to the server's position. In bad cases, it results in rubber banding, but in normal scenarios, these changes should be non-noticeable. The cases where you permanently desync occur when our systems fail to detect and respond to desyncs. Mitigation: we have identified the issue solved above, along with some other cases where you can permanently desync, and we should have the fix deployed in the coming builds. Please keep an eye on the patch notes for more information. And we finally have a Q&A. What's the server tick rate? Our 4v4 matches run at 60 Hz tick rate, and the big team battle run at 30. And in the future, online campaign call will also run at a 30 Hz tick rate as well. Question: why do my shots appear to miss when I watch back in theater films as an observer? This is due to latency compensation the server does to ensure shots land correctly. Remember that when the server receives a shot, it rewinds time. For that, its shots can, in observer mode, in theater mode, will appear as we don't rewind in these modes. We have future work planned that will perform the latency compensation when viewing a player in first person, but unfortunately, due to the way the system works, third person theater and observer will always be off. Again, the higher latency of the shooter, the more significant the error will appear. Okay, that's it for that. So what do I think about all this? Finally, that 33 is, kind of talking. So I'm sure you know this has been, not as much Halo content on my channel, and that's for kind of obvious reasons, because it's been pretty quiet. So, it's pretty obvious what this is definitely a big issue. I'm glad it's being addressed out there, paying attention to it. So, I guess keep the feedback coming, let them know of any other issues, So, because trust me, they want this game to succeed. So, so I guess that's a bit. Again, I'll have the full article in the description so you can fully read through it for yourself. This is mainly just about, brief parts of the issues and, what they're doing to circumvent it. So, well, that's it for this video. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you want to hear more, just, stay tuned to this channel for more, Halo information when it comes out. So stay tuned. Anyway, see you guys later.